Hi everyone, this is Brittnee Bond and welcome back to the podcast. So today I have an amazing guest on this wonderful podcast. His name is Joel. Hello, Joel.
Hello. Hello, Brittnee. Hello, world.
Welcome. So Joel is from Boston, and something that's interesting about him is that he is I'm going to call him a famous musician. Just going to put that out there. He was on The Voice of Germany. Yeah. How long ago were you on The Voice?
So that was in 2016, and I was a semi-finalist. This
Amazing.
season with Alicia Keys and John Legend,
That's
Robbie Williams.
so cool, babe. Okay, so and he's gone on to make, what is it called? What kind of company?
It's a music artist management agency.
So he's a music artist management agency. He's been traveling all over the world with it, and now he just moved to Bangkok. And we matched on a dating app called Field. And then he reached out to me on Instagram this morning and was like, yo, I love your energy or your vibe or something. And I was like, I'm here for all the activation. Let's go. So he was interested to join the play party I'm hosting on Saturday with his partner, which we're going to talk about in this episode. And talking about open relating and how that is playing out with you and your lovely woman, and also our connection, how that has evolved. So basically this morning you reached out to me on Instagram. I was at a cafe. I don't normally hang out with like new people. I'm very selective and protective of my energy, but there was something. You were like, do you want to meet me for a vibe check? But I knew that was more than just like, do you want to meet me for the party? And I was like, actually, yeah, I really like his energy. And so I just casually was like, I'm here having a matcha for like 5 more, or, you know, like for a very short time if you want to stop by. And he was like, oh my God, I'm 5 minutes away or something. And I'm coming. And then we have spent a very beautiful day together. So if you're excited, we're going to dive right into this episode. Let's go. Are you ready?
Stay tuned.
Are you ready?
I am. Yeah, we matched on Field, and I guess it's destiny. Sure. Not to sound cliche.
Okay, so but share with them like your first impression of me.
My first impression, I felt like home.
Aww.
I really did.
That's good, yeah.
I felt like home. And surely enough, when I met you and I heard your voice, it really resonated with me.
Why? Because I'm American.
Well, certainly because you're American. But no, there's this jolliness in your voice.
I love that word.
There's a jolliness to it, yeah. And I'm a very whimsical character.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a performer. I'm an entertainer. And so that jolliness really spoke to me. That's really what made me feel like home.
Thank you. So I'll just share with you a little bit of how our day has progressed. So I met Joel. He would message me and he was like, yo, I would love to meet you in person if you want to do a vibe check of me. Disclaimer, I don't normally meet people in real life. A lot of times on the island, many people want to reach out. They want to hang out. And in order to protect my energy and just create this container of safety for myself, I just have a lot of healthy boundaries around who I meet up with and hang out with. But there was something in your energy. Also, you're very beautiful. There was something in your energy that was like, I want to meet this.
I can only say the same about you.
Thank you. And so I messaged you and I was like, I'm at this cafe. I can meet I can meet for a couple minutes and then I need to go home and, you know, do my life. And he was like, I'm on my way. I'm only a couple minutes away. I'll come by.
It's perfect timing.
Yeah. And then he came by and then we just immediately was like, we had known each other for years. That's what it feels like. Or like other lifetimes or something.
Yeah, those are the moments of affirmation that mean the world to me, actually.
Same. Yeah, I definitely, and I've shared this in my podcast a lot, that I feel for most of my life I have felt like an alien. And many of the people who listen to this also feel that way. So for all of us alien children out here, it's really fun when we meet each other and we vibe.
You're not alone.
You're not alone. No, exactly.
Our journeys crossed paths. And
our destinies aligned.
Yeah. And I'm excited. I'm excited to be here.
Same. So it's a very like Young story to meet someone and then suddenly you're just like dropped into this vortex of just like, because I feel like in the outside world people are like, what the fuck are you guys doing? You just met.
Believe it or not, that does happen sometimes. It is true. This world is very magical, and I think we are in a very magical place right now.
Yeah, Young, I'm not joking when I say that I feel like it's kind of a different dimension than the rest of the world. Like it's still in the same universe, but we're on a different dimensional plane
Right.
where things are just spinning a lot faster
Sure.
and things can happen if you're open to it. Some people come here and they're still resisting it, and then they get in scooter accidents or, you know, weird, crazy things happen.
Yeah.
And we have a saying on the island that if you don't get into the flow of the island will kick you off.
Wow.
It's a real thing.
Well,
straight
I'm
up.
glad to be in the right flow.
You're in the best flow, babe. You ended up you're in my bedroom right now.
I think this is the best flow. This is certainly the best flow, without a doubt. There is no question, absolutely no question there. And I'm very happy to be here. Very, very blessed as well.
Yeah. So he just moved to Bangkok. So you will
I
be
did.
close by.
I did.
He was gonna leave on Friday, but then in our exploration of the day, now he's gonna leave on, I don't know, sometime after the play party. Definitely would love for you to come to the play party.
I
Saturday.
am certainly going to be there.
Yeah.
That's also without a doubt, no question. No question.
Our last one was like straight out of like a movie. Like I would love your brand advice of like how to film this or like share this with the world, because people hear about the play parties and they think like just hedonism, you know, but
right.
it's really this community orientated sexual deprogramming, pleasure, school. Like it's just all of these things
Right.
into this very intimate vortex of one night. And when you come out of it, like many people say the next day, they're like, was that a dream?
Wow.
Like, did I make that up in my head?
Wow. Wow.
Um,
Well, I'm
because-
very excited.
Yeah.
Because-
And I would love to talk to you about it after and be
Yeah.
like, so how was it?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
expectation versus reality.
Right. That means I might have to stay a few more days.
The island will just suck you in. It's like,
I'm never gonna leave. I wouldn't mind. Well, I would love to really be here as well.
Yeah.
From the top of my head, I guess it really depends on which area of the place downstairs is most relatable and comfortable, I guess, on the screen. Similar to how we were downstairs with you, where we kind of picked the best angle that is intimate while at the same time.
It's not about the angle. It's more that everyone's naked.
It's
babe.
not everyone's-
Yeah, it's like even if I filmed this, you know, like how do I where do I share this on Twitter? You
Right,
know?
but how do you capture it without it being
Okay,
like,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Without it being like, hey, look, it's naked people, but
Yeah.
rather like, oh, there just happens to be naked people walking in the background, or, you know, enjoying the facility. This is really what I mean with it, you know?
So when you
Like
think
humans
of
in their natural habitat.
yeah, like
right?
we all are. Like I feel the most myself when I'm naked. Like I really feel like so. I love my body. I love just being free. It's also just really hot here a lot. So it's like just like we just naturally after we made these filming downstairs, we just got naked and jumped in the pool. You
Makes
know,
sense.
'cause it's like
It's Kopangang.
yeah, it's Kopangang, salt water, cold, refreshing pool in a hot climate. It's like life is good. You know.
Life is really, really good here, actually.
But I would love to ask you, what do you think is going to happen at the play party? Because this is a fun before and after.
Yeah. So before and after. Well, I got the tip that it is no penetration party, which is very, very lovely. It's going to be one of my first time being at one of those kinds of play parties, specifically.
Have you
so-
been to any other kind of like an orgy?
I've
You
been-
met your
I've-
partner at an orgy. We're going to talk about his partner in a second.
Shout out to my partner.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have been to play parties. Yeah. A close friend of mine in Hamburg hosts play parties in her mansion. She has like a mansion in
Amazing.
Hamburg. Her and her
How long?
husband.
Wait, hold on. There's a lot of German listeners. How long have you lived in Germany for?
Ich habe in Deutschland seit 2013 gewohnt. Das heißt 12 Jahre. Nee, 14 Jahre. Nee, 12 Jahre. Genau. 12 Jahre.
Genau.
Ich bin in Deutschland gewohnt. Yes, I speak German.
I speak Germany.
Speak German.
I love it.
Yes, I've been living in Germany since 2013. So I was there for a bit over a decade. But that chapter is behind me now.
Now he's a Bangkok boy.
Now I'm a
Bangkok
Bangkok
man.
boy.
So you met your partner at an orgy. Can we talk about this, please?
Yes.
Paint the
Yes.
scene for everyone.
The scene. The first day that I wore the correct size
Oh my gosh.
shoes, which was very.
Wait, hold on.
recent.
I want to pause this and talk about this. So we were at the restaurant, the cafe earlier, and we were both talking about how like we want to step into our fullest expression of ourselves. And basically for most of our lives, we felt like we needed to make ourselves smaller for everyone around us, like energetically. And then he brought up this story about how most of his life he's actually been wearing a shoe size too small.
Yeah.
And I was like,
true.
what?
Yeah.
So why did you do that?
Yeah, it's it's really I guess odd to hear, but if we think about societies, women and feminine energy was often very constricted in similar ways.
Yeah.
In Japanese and Asiatic cultures, you find women
Bending,
right, and the
bending the feet.
right into these really small things. I grew up with my mother. I'm not blaming her for it. No, but I guess it was what you just described. This want, this urge to fit in, I guess, or feeling too big, or like you're taking too much space. So I tried to constrict myself.
But it was subconscious, right? You didn't know you were doing it, or did you consciously like choose a smaller shoe size?
It certainly became subconscious as I was, buying new shoes here and there. I thought that was my size. I kind of convinced myself of that.
Mm-hmm.
But on a funnier note, my dad has huge feet, and I grew up praying that my feet wouldn't be that big. So I was hoping that I was 44 and I was staying 44.
Wait, show them your feet. Your feet look very normal to me. He's got normal feet.
They're normal feet. They're not too big. I'm a size 46, so 45 and a half, really. So it's just like one side.
So you decided to finally take up space. And that same day you met your life partner.
I was vibing with just that simple change also affected my energy that I was radiating.
Definitely.
And I remember I literally walked out of a store, and her and our friend just literally walked by me, noticed me. We smiled, our energy touched, and we enjoyed the day. It was a beautiful, beautiful sunny day.
I thought you met at an orgy. I'm confused.
Well, this is what happened was that.
Break it down for me.
So this is the long story. The short version was we met at an orgy, but the longer version is that we met on the day that I had the right size shoes, and walked out of the store literally after buying them.
Mm.
And as I'm walking out, she's walking by, and then we spontaneously decided to walk to a basketball court together.
Mm-hmm.
We spent the next 4 hours just sitting there playing basketball and just chit-chatting with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing came out of that really, in terms of maybe I think we exchanged contacts, but it wasn't like a follow-up or texting right away. It wasn't like love at first sight like that. It was more like, wow, who's this person that I just met? And then we, I'm the kind of guy that if I meet someone, I'm not this overbearing, like, oh, hey, I kind of like let it sit, let it settle.
Mm-hmm.
And surely enough, a week later, she told me later on that she thought I was not interested because I hadn't, texted her. Yeah, I hadn't pursued. But then she was invited by our mutual friend to my place the night that I had moved into it. So she was really happy about it. Funny enough, I had no idea she was coming. I didn't know he was bringing anyone over either. He kind of just like.
Wait, so where is the orgy in this story? I'm getting confused.
The orgy happened 4 days after I actually met her.
Okay.
So it was 4 days of silence, and then hi, I'm here at your doorstep.
And you were hosting an orgy in your house.
I was hosting a get together that.
Did you know it was going to turn into
I
this?
did not know that it was going to turn into an orgy.
So it's an accidental orgy.
It was an accidental. Well, actually, I think my friend I think he knew what he was doing. I think he knew what he was doing, and I was kind of jolly.
Innocent in this one?
Yeah, I think I was innocent in this one, yeah. We found out about that later. But very appreciative. Had a lot of fun. And I met my partner in a very precarious position.
Are you going to share more or no?
I guess we met each other. I mean,
Break it down for me.
I was pretty much, I was, orgasming inside someone's mouth while she was orgasming with penetration by someone else.
Amazing.
And I think we were pretty much making eye contact while that was happening.
Whoa, that is
Yeah.
very sexy and very intimate and very unique. I love all of those things.
I've never told anybody about that.
Now you've just told a lot of people.
I'm sorry, baby. It's for educational purposes.
I love this so much. Okay, so while we were just like, as I do in the cafe, I was like immediately asking you like, so how is it going with your are you guys gonna come to the play party together?
I would love to bring her.
Yeah,
actually, I would love
that.
to and introduce you to her. And yeah, I think she would.
So tell them about like, so how long have you guys been dating for?
We've been dating since June of last year.
So now going on over 6 months.
Going on over 6
And
months.
have you been monogamous for this whole time?
No. We've been we organized to be exclusive for the first few months as we were, combining our lives together. But we have an open, ethical, non-monogamous relationship.
So how does that actually look and feel in real life? Because people can say all of these things. I was in one of these that didn't end very well.
Right. Yeah, words are words and talk is cheap.
Yeah, actions are everything in this world. So how does that actually play out in the real world?
Yeah. In the real world, it's something that is individualized to the pair. Right?
Of course, yeah. So I'm just curious about your guys as individual, like what works for you. Because people, it's almost like every time I share about this, it's like a case study. It's not black and white. This is how it needs to go.
Right.
And that's the thing I think I want to just keep implementing or imprinting in people is traditional monogamy is like very black and white because it's reinforced by religion, society, social programming. So it's like you don't even really need to talk about it that much because it's basically like, don't sleep with someone else, don't be energetically involved with anyone else besides your partner.
Right.
Once we go into the world of open relating, people want to have that same feeling of structure, and it's almost like they want to feel like safe in this. I don't know what this word is not coming to me, but it's like permanence or
in this commitment.
This commitment, yeah. But the thing that people don't understand is that it's like the agreements that you make individually between you and your partner is what creates that safety in the relationship. So in traditional monogamy, what creates that safety is we have this agreement that we will not be with other people. And because this is so societally impressed on us, like it's not something that people really talk about verbally, that when they get into open relating, they're looking for the same kind of structure that's just already set up. And what they don't realize is like, oh, individually we have to create this. And it needs a lot of communication, and it needs a lot of trust, and it needs a lot of commitment. Because really the agreement is what creates that safety. And it's what honoring that agreement. So once someone breaks the agreement, whatever it is, it's like, we can have an agreement, you and your partner, of like, you can sleep with everyone, but not this one person. And if that's just the agreement and you honor it, then that's what creates a safety. But when someone breaks that agreement, this is what happened in my last relationship that was like, people were like, well, you guys were in an open relationship. How is it cheating if he broke? And I was like, but he broke our agreements. So that is the same as if you're in a monogamous relationship and someone goes and sleeps with someone else.
Right.
So with my last partner was that, use a condom, don't bring them into our house.
Right.
And he broke all of these agreements.
Okay.
And so that's the cheating that happens.
Right.
But for a lot of people that are very monogamous focused, or like just orientated, that's the only reality they've had. They're like, I don't understand. I thought it was just a free for all. If you say you're open, then what is the
Right.
So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah. So again, it is an individual journey with your pair, with your partner, and from our experience, we started off very open. So we really went first free flowing first. We were very passionate when we first met, and gave the passion the space to lead the way.
Free flowing with each other or with other people?
With each other.
Okay.
With each other. So what we felt, we immediately responded to it. We wanted to be exclusive in order to build some kind of foundation with what you mentioned, this kind of structure that we need. we needed to, I guess, create that for each other.
Yeah,
or
you
at
need
least
to create a foundation of safety.
You need to create a foundation of safety, or at least prove to each other that this is possible, that foundation, that homebody feeling is possible.
Yeah. So for the first while, you guys were monogamous with each other or
Right.
exclusive with each other, whatever you want to
Yes,
say. I'm just like,
yes.
for someone who doesn't understand open relating, basically you were monogamous to begin with.
Basically, yes,
okay.
yes. With the intentionality of setting up that foundation to be open and to be free, based on how we feel and what our individual needs are.
Yeah.
Right. So that was how we started, and then, as tends to happen with intimate relationships, our professional lives crossed. Specifically, or more specifically, because we're both music artists. We're both singers. And we'd worked with the same
Yeah, I
label.
want to just cut in here, and I'm going to redo our intro because I basically didn't intro you very well.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Because
Yeah.
there was many things happening right before we started this podcast that we can talk about in a minute. But so you were on, basically, from my American, or our American perspective,
Yes.
like American Idol, but for Germany.
Right.
So for all the Germans, what is it called?
Yeah, I was on the Voice of Germany.
So you were on the Voice of Germany. Yeah, sorry, go.
Which is also, we have the Voice in the States too.
Okay.
Yeah, the
And then she was also on the Voice of Germany, but the year before?
Yep, right before me.
So you guys have like aligned destinies in this way, right? And now you have a production company together? Or
We have an artist agency.
artist agency.
A management agency.
Okay,
together.
cool.
It's called IM, Independent Artist Management.
Amazing.
Mm.
So going back to your open relating, your business life crossed paths?
Right. So
Okay.
we crossed. At the time that we met, I was the music director for the Hard Rock Hotel in Hamburg. Great location, by the way. You should visit
it a
if you're in
shout-out?
Hamburg, Germany. Shout out to Hamburg Bunker and the Hard Rock Hotel Reverb. Great experience, and it allowed me the opportunity to facilitate musical work and a platform for independent artists in the city. So it was quite an honor, and I was able to facilitate that for her.
Amazing.
And during which time we picked up she had actually another client, and she set me up as the acting manager, and the journey
you
just
guys-
continued from there.
Yeah, you basically helped each other rise up, which I
Right.
love. That's very sexy.
Mm.
So how did that evolve your open relating?
Right. So it evolved it because now I was with my partner having different kinds of conversations, not just like the connecting kind of conversations, or not just chit chat or lovey-dovey.
You're having like straight up business
Oh
talk.
yeah. And of course we're different people, so we have different approaches. Yeah. We have different experiences professionally.
I know this. I've business partnered with my partners a lot, and it's just like a whole different version of you.
I'm still a chilled guy,
Yeah.
but I have a lot of retail experience. I studied international business and journalism, and I had a year and a half of psychology first in Salem State University. So I'm very proud of it. I feel very comfortable in that. That being said, she is one of the only people I would have ever started an agency with.
Amazing.
So
That's
although
beautiful.
we have,
I love that.
many differences, we have a very strong, committed foundation that is interweaved with the independencies of our talents, actually. So it's beautiful.
So
we complement each other very much.
I love that. So when did you decide that you wanted to open your relationship?
So we decided that very, very quickly, actually. So after the orgy, she kind of just stayed at my place for like 2 weeks or something. And during this time, we were really appreciating what we had found in each other, and we were trying to kind of not box it, but I guess curate it. Right.
So from the beginning, you were like, we want an open relationship. You guys kind of
Right.
planned this, but then you decided to be exclusive for a while to just set that foundation of safety for each other.
Yeah, I mean, to be frank, we do love our sexuality. We love exploring sexuality. We love exploring our kinks and sex positivity and all of that in between. The beauty of consensual spaces and safe spaces, and the dismantling of the masculine patriarch in those sexual kind of contextualized environments. So we love sex, and we love to play, and we love to meet people that love that too.
I love that.
I you
You met the right person.
But that being said, we
Make love to the mic.
yeah, I can keep reminding you of that, please. Yeah. Wow. Now my mind is just thinking about sex. I'm sorry. What were you asking me?
I don't know. I moved the mic. I moved it, but I think he set it up better than I did before.
Let me
no. Okay.
readjust it. Yeah. No.
Yeah,
Worries.
okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do this randomly in the middle of the podcast,
That's
and I'm like,
okay.
I want it to be different. Oh wait, it was
Yeah.
fine before.
Here we go.
Okay.
And bang.
So,
Right.
was there a moment specifically where you guys decided that you were going to open the relationship? Like you were like,
Right,
okay,
right.
now it's time.
Right. So as I mentioned, we were there in my place for like 2 weeks right after the orgy, and at some point in this 2 week time, I don't remember exactly when it was in this 2 week time, but we were sitting on my bed and we were talking about what the future might look like with each other, and it was certainly something along those lines of open relationship. We didn't know exactly if it meant polyamory, if it meant ethical non-monogamy, or if it just meant this with a slight open border kind of thing.
But you were open to being open.
We're very open to being open. We were very open to be open. We, like I mentioned, we loved it. I was 2.5 years in at that time of exploring my sexuality with men and women, and exploring the kinky scene in Germany.
It's very kinky over there.
Oh man, well first rule of Fight Club is don't talk about Fight Club.
Unless you're on my podcast.
There you go. Fair enough. Yeah. Germany has a very, very, very profound.
What's the kinkiest thing you've done in Germany?
The kinkiest thing I've done in Germany. Shout out to La Cova, one of my favorite clubs in Hamburg.
In Hamburg, okay.
It is an underground club beneath a sex shop.
I love it.
Right on the Reeperbahn, which is the main party strip of Hamburg.
Is it a secret place, or does everyone know about it?
It is a secret place, actually. They started hosting parties during COVID.
Oh, I love that.
Secret parties during COVID, yeah.
That's how I started my play parties.
Yeah?
Yeah.
These were silent parties with headphones.
What?
Yeah, it was crazy.
Wait, what were you listening to on the headphones?
It was like you could switch to different channels, essentially, but...
I fucking silent disco. I love that.
It was wild. I mean, they didn't want to get caught during COVID.
And then what? So you were listening to headphones and doing stuff with each other?
Raving and,
But was it a sex thing to begin with?
La Cova is a...
So it's kind of like Berghain, but you got headphones on?
It's like it's...
Or like Kit Kat? But
So now it's it's not a silent disco anymore, but during COVID they did this.
I love that.
Yeah. It's like a smaller version of Kit Kat, yeah.
But during COVID it was with headphones on.
It was with headphones on.
I love that.
Shout out to La Cova. Sexiest thing I've ever done. Kinkiest thing I did in Hamburg was we have something over there called the Andreas Kreuz, right? The cross. It's not a crucifix, so it's like an X cross, right? And you
What is this, a statue?
It's like a two wooden planks.
Okay.
Crossed like this, and they have shackles on each end of the planks, and you kind of just get shackled to it.
This is inside this party.
This is inside the club.
Okay, yeah.
It's inside the club.
You get shackled to it, and then what happens? Or what happened to you?
And this cross, this Andreas Kreuz, is inside of a jail cell. So the club is actually an old Nazi jail.
You can't make this shit up.
Can't make this up. It's an old Nazi jail, but it's like, we're turning it into something positive, sex positive.
Transmutation. I love that.
It's and the energy, you feel it there. So it's this really like catacomby kind of, and the jail doors are still there. So so this cross is like in a jail cell.
What?
Yeah, and I was like shackled to this, and we were in like a 6-person orgy.
Oh my God, I love this so much.
Someone like orgied on my knee, and it just dripped into my shoes, and yeah, this is incredible.
I think that might have been a little too much for some of my listeners, but I'm here for all of it.
I think I'm supposed to be keeping it PG. No.
No.
And for mature?
No.
What's the rating here?
I think we're doing great. They don't even understand those ratings. They're not American.
Okay.
It's a different dimension.
Hello, world.
Okay, so bringing it back to now you guys are in a moment where you're opening things, or you were open. Have you guys?
Yes.
Have either of you been with other people? No, since this opening.
Yeah, we've been communicating with different people. We've had different people in our lives, and maintaining those relationships. I can really speak for myself, and in this case has been very important for me. I made some very deep connections with people before my partner, and
so these were romantic connections.
Some of them were romantic connections. Some of them were platonic connections, and I really value both on a very very similarly equal level, because they're very intimate for me. It's a sharing of energy. It's a sharing of my time and my life. So I do value it very closely. Some of my platonic relationships are deeper and more intimate than any of my.
I know what you mean. I have the same.
And then so it's the gravity of those connections. And so we maintained that. But what we did was we maintained a sexual exclusivity for a period of time. This was one of those agreements.
Yeah.
In order to at least, and people make mistakes, and not to say that one should hold themselves up to keeping an agreement, but also we're very much into acceptance of one's mistakes, and being what we committed to for each other was to be that person that is really always going to be there for you. Unfortunately, sometimes you make mistakes that hurt your partner,
But I think the main thing is that you actually own them and you're
that
actually
you own
sorry.
them, that you own them, that you're sorry.
Yeah.
Apologies are more than words. It's a daily thing. And
Consistent
it's
action
just
over
consistent.
time.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
this is so we're in this beautiful journey where we're consistent with reminders of what we want with each other, what we want to explore, and then that the constant, it's not a struggle actually, we're having a great time, and but the constant reminder of keeping up with certain things, and being
in order
courteous
to maintain the relationship dynamic. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, because a lot of people are going to ask me, so basically when you guys decided you were going to be sexually exclusive with each other for a set period, was it a set period of time? That was my question. Or was it like, let's feel into it if someone comes into our life, or like what was it for you guys?
Yeah, it was a set period of it was a flow feeling kind of thing.
Okay.
I think that the idea is to let's say to wrap your head around the concept. It's let's set up a period of time, but the reality of connecting with another individual in life is that it can be spontaneous.
For sure, yeah.
Right, and so it's
when the universe wants to bring someone into your life, like you never,
yeah. So exactly that. So in that sense, we were very much. How do I put this into words? We very much respect that. We very much value allowing, of course, that connectivity to exist. And that being said, we also wanted to prove to each other that. We wanted to do this with each other. With by each other's side.
As a team. This is what I've always said. It's like if I feel like on the same team with my partner, I'm pretty much open for most things,
Yeah.
But if I feel like they're energetically like, I want to be with you, but I want to be with them. And it's like there's no feeling of like we are in this together.
Yes.
And I care about your heart first and like protecting your heart before everything else.
Right.
If I feel like someone is like really like you are my queen, I'm here to protect you and like provide for you and like just create the safety for you.
Right.
And I feel that, then everything else is just like a cherry on top, like just fun extra stuff,
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. We've had some moments because we committed to each other, and committed to that, wanting to be that for each other, we were given the opportunity to be that for each other. You know, there were moments that came up that were really difficult, where I am so glad that I was there for her. You know,
you mean just life moments, or in
life moments,
other relating with other people?
Life moments.
Life moments.
Life
Yeah,
moments.
yeah, like showing up as someone's ride or die.
Yeah.
You know, like that's, I told you earlier, I was married for 6 years. That was
Wow.
my first real relationship.
Yeah.
And I know what it's like to have someone who really has your back. Like, I think most people in our generation don't really understand that. They've never really, from an embodiment perspective, had a relationship in their life where someone's like, I don't care what's going down, I have your back.
Right.
Like, you killed someone, you did, like, you know, I got you. You know?
No killers though.
No
murders.
no,
No, just Josh and yes, exactly that. And it feels good to be that for someone, and
it's
to
so
have
beautiful.
someone. Yeah, it feels really good. Yeah.
And so, have you guys had moments where, like, have either of you connected with other people sexually since?
Yeah, we're opening it now, like really venturing out now to do that.
Because my question is a lot of this stuff is theory until the thing happens.
Until it happens.
So I was asking, like, has it happened? Have either of you connected with someone else sexually yet?
I'd have to ask her specifically again, because things might have changed in the last few days.
So wait,
yes.
Well, I guess this is another question that people are going to have is, do you talk about it beforehand, or is it like what are your agreements? Like, just go flow and then let's check in, or
So
is it like, what is the boundaries here?
So this is something that we also found out in our relationship, is with the free flow, you do run into technicalities.
Yeah.
Right? Because the free flow suggests, or it really means, that you didn't talk about the specifics, but you want to just go with the flow of the feelings thereof. And so you run into problems because of this, because, you know, maybe in one moment someone feels hurt or underlooked or overlooked rather, or not appreciated for whatever reason. And then, of course, the talking about it thereafter kind of dissolves that. And then you go through, again, the series of reminders and then the daily consistency after that. But yeah, so we did run into some walls because of that. Like, oh, okay, no.
So you guys had situations where you were like, let's free flow, and then something happened with someone else, and then you came back home and you talked about it, and then the other person was like, wow, I got feelings.
For example, it was more so like things would happen in just daily life, kind of interactions with people in person, or correspondences in texting.
That were like romantic
in nature, for example, or connections with someone else, and it not have been talked about, let's say, before that correspondence was going on, and then it coming up as a surprise, but then talking about it and kind of alleviating the tensity that gets stirred up from, let's say, jealousy, for example. And so the talking about it and being all right and patient enough to be like, to deal with the reaction. So let's say my partner is jealous about me flirting with someone who I've known for many years. And the reason for her jealousy, from, you know, after corresponding and communicating about this, was from her feeling insecure about my commitment to her.
I think you need to hear. I think you need this more than me.
Okay.
So put that in.
You do that. That's a great idea.
Or whichever one it was. Is that working?
Hey.
Can you hear me?
Oh, no, it's this one.
Yeah. My headphones are kind of dead, so only one of them is working.
Oh.
Maybe it needs to be the other ear.
No. There we go.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, this works. Okay.
So now you can hear yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where was I?
I think it was about getting below the real root of why someone is jealous.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah.
And from her own words, you know, she was jealous because in those moments she felt like I didn't care about her enough to have told her before. And so she felt like I was hiding it, which I wasn't. I'm just someone that explores my connectivity in a private solo space, right? And so if I'm questioned about something, or if she's interested or curious about something, I'm very forthgiving and willing to share. I'm just not the kiss and teller, right? And this is something that we learned about each other along the way.
So how does she deal with that? Because I think that would, I don't know if that would be okay with me.
It tickles something. But she learned that for me to be, for I guess, the way that I get aroused by connecting with other people is by having that solo space. And she realized that.
Oh, this is so...
It's so interesting, right?
Because I am actually like you, but I want my partner to not be like that.
Right,
it's
right.
Like I want my partner to be an open book and to be like, hey, I like this girl. I like da-da-da. But I want to be able to just go off and have my little adventure and come home and report back, you know?
Right, which can be scary. Can be scary. So there's like this, you have to open it from both sides. And so what I was more doing, I was kind of easing my way into, because at the end of the day, you have to, as you know, you're two different people, and you both have your own boundaries. You both have your own version or vision of what you feel like is good for you, right? And then you kind of come together and find a compromise, right? And so what I was trying to do to get to that compromise was I'm behaving in the way that I do want to behave. I'm sharing when I'm asked to share, and of course it's not coming from bad intentions, right? So when you talk about things and there is no bad intentions, then at the end of the conversation, everything gets relieved, and you can brush your shoulders off and then hug again and then watch a movie together. And
because you guys have this baseline of like we're on the same team.
Yeah.
So that's. At the end of the day, that's the end goal. At the end of the day, it's like, how do we get back to this like foundational safety of each other?
Exactly.
And you both feel that commitment to each other, right? So like other people, because some people say like, with openness, it's like, is there a hierarchy? It's like, I think for me, at least, there needs to be some sort of hierarchy. Otherwise, like if I could be the same as any other person you're connecting with, then how does this mean it's special?
Right. That's very, very, very true. That's very true. And even at the same time, it's interesting. I try to back away from calling it a hierarchy per se.
I know. I don't like that word either, but I think something needs to be special.
Something needs to be, And so, for instance, I want our connection to be uniquely special, for example. You and I, and I have a one-of-a-kind, uniquely special connection with my partner. And so this is why I step away from a hierarchy per se, because I also want to have a one-of-a-kind connection with you.
So for you, it's more like each connection you have is unique, and with her, it's more like this is who I'm choosing to build my life with. This is my life partner, unique.
Exactly. And I'm also realizing that, as I spoke earlier, how much I value my platonic relationships versus more intimate relationships. I'm realizing and affirming that there are many people that I'm sharing my life with, and these chosen family members in our lives.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. Yeah. For me, it's like, I realized in my last relationship that a lot of my chosen family didn't like my partner. They didn't tell me this until afterwards, you know?
Wow.
And now it's like, I actually have this decision I made that before I sleep with someone, they have to meet at least some of my core chosen family, and my chosen family has to like them.
Wow,
like
that's beautiful.
It's like a vibe check, you know?
That's beautiful.
Because my chosen family has been my life for like 10 years.
Right.
And they
know you.
Yeah, and they're going to be with me for the rest of my life.
Exactly.
So it's like other people that are coming in need to like get along with them.
If you want to get with me, you got to get with my friends.
Yeah, basically.
Wasn't that the Spice Girls? Well, I'm certainly going to try to get with your friends, girl. Be careful. No, I'm just kidding. Maybe that can prove truth.
So let's talk about us for a second. So now that we've just talked about your amazing partner, what do you want with our connection? This is like, I'm totally putting him on the spot right now, which I love.
Putting me on blast. Damn.
I love it so much. So what do you want with our connection? If you could have whatever you want.
Wow. That is really a sexy question.
My long legs.
Yes.
You were talking about how he likes my long legs.
We are in the same club.
Yeah, how tall are you?
I am 195 centimeters, so I am 6'5".
I love tall men so much.
I'm taller with heels. What do I want?
What do you desire, my
what
dear?
do I desire?
Tell me all of your desires.
My heart is pounding. I'm getting very
Tell me more.
subby vibes. Like I feel like I want to be your sub, you know.
Wow,
Yeah.
I've never heard a man say that
Really?
before. Yeah, usually I'm the sub.
Oh man. Yeah. I think I got used to the mic placement. I'm gonna try this thing. I'm getting those vibes. You come off like you have a great time. So I feel like I would enjoy.
Babe, I'm always having a great time.
So I feel like I would really enjoy what your ideas are, you know.
Okay, it's funny you say sub because when I think of like last night I had this guy in my bed and he's very like into the dominant stuff, you know, and we even explored like a collar and a leash and like different types of just dom sub, like traditional kink.
Okay.
And I really enjoy that. And also there's a part of me that's like, I'm a queen, you know? So like when I'm in bed, I'm like, I want this. Yeah. But I say it in a way where it's not like I'm ordering you. It's just more like, I desire this and I need it to happen right now.
Ask and you will receive. Don't get it twisted, girl. I can totally put some dom vibes out there. I love that as well too. I think I'm very passionate, so I let myself go in certain moments, and I can certainly.
In your life and your energy, do you feel that you are more dominant or more submissive? Just curious.
It's a very good question. I think I'm very balanced. I think you'll get to see that.
We just met today. So.
Yeah. Fresh, brand new, out the package.
I just feel like there's something, I just want to sit up. Yeah. My leg is doing, I did all these kettlebell exercises yesterday. Okay, yeah, we're here. It's happening. Yeah, we're here.
Nice, there we go.
Coming back in.
Yeah, there you go. So I am getting those kinds of vibes. I want you to feel like you can direct me in such a way. You know?
Well, I like it that you were directing me like when we were doing the camera stuff because I actually really need that. And it's like I just feel this feminine chaos magic when I'm creating content. Just like, I'm going to do this and then I'll never do it again. And then I'm going to do this for like 15 days and then who knows what's going to happen. So like having this like consistent, like this is what you need to do. Cause I love sharing my energy with the world, you know? And in whatever way I can show up for you, I'm here. I feel like we're just going to be really amazing friends. This is
I think so too.
Yeah, I can just feel this energy. Like we keep talking about how it's like we just like basically reconnected in this timeline, but we've been in many lifetimes together.
Yes.
That's what it feels like.
Yes, I love those feelings because they are affirmations or validations of that being true. You know, this feeling I only get with people that I'm actually destined to be with. Or to be around.
Yeah, these soul contracts we were talking about, I totally believe in them. Like that, if you don't know what a soul contract is, it's like before you were born into this life, you made an agreement with someone else that, hey, I'm going to meet you around this time and we're going to learn these things together and we're going to support each other. We're going to activate the fuck out of each other. And then you come down and then you have this like feeling of recognition.
Yes.
And if there's some of them are karmic connections where it's like, it's not necessarily a positive experience, but it's also still a soul contract.
Wow, you're so right.
You have the opportunity to grow into the person. Like I feel that with my last partner, it was like definitely a karmic connection where
it had to be done.
Yeah, it had to be done. Like he always said it was an absolute point. Like in Marvel movies, they have these things where it's like in the timeline, you had to meet each other. Right. This thing had to happen.
Right.
And then we both have the opportunity now to use that as an activation to step into our power fully, which I can't speak for him, but for me, I'm really doing that. So I more and more since the breakup, I have felt more and more grateful for the experience. There was many months where I hated his guts and I just wanted to never have met him in my life. And I was just heartbroken and crying everywhere. But now I'm like, wow, I have space and I feel grateful. You know?
Yeah. You got over that hurdle and all right, over that mountaintop and then see the other perspective.
Yeah, and that's something that the reason why I was asking you also like really clearly about your relationship with your partner. What's her name?
Her name is Aitana.
Aitana, that's beautiful. With Aitana is that it's like there's right now in my relationship, like I'm really, or like relationship dynamics is I'm very ready for like my life partner. Like I thought my last partner was that. And so now I'm like redirecting. But I'm a lot more clear because of what I just went through. And I definitely choose to be on the same team with my partner. I choose for us to have like basically monogamous for the first while.
Right.
And then like it's me being me, you know? So it's also like I know that at some point I'm going to want to explore.
Right.
Like, the idea of being with one person for the rest of my life just seems very impractical. Because for me, like sexual intimacy is one more level of I love you. So there's
beautifully said.
You know, it's like I can't, I guess some people call it demisexual. Like I can't sleep with someone or have penetrative sex unless there is. And for me, it's like actually for most of my life, it's like we are committed to being in each other's lives. Like most of the men that I've slept with have, or women have slept with, have been like, they're still my really good friends to this day, you know? And so it's like been one more level of like this deep connection that we have. And the love making is just one more expression of that.
Right.
Because when you make love, you like merge your energy, you know?
Beautifully said.
Yeah, I had, when I first started the play parties, I had a group of like 15, 20 of us. And all of us were kind of dating each other. We were doing cuddle events. We were all kind of sleeping together. And we talk about it, you know? It was like a tribe. And we're still, most of us are really good friends to this day. They're all spread across the world.
Oh, wow.
And we all keep in contact. One of them committed suicide last year.
Oh, my
so it was
God.
so
I'm sorry
painful
for your loss. Sorry.
Yeah, I still miss him to this day. I love Kane.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. So there's this feeling that I've already know what this tribal collective vibe that I would love. Like when I manifest it as like me and my partner, we are each other's, you know, ride or die. Like we're on the same team. And then we have this group of like our tribe, you know, where we all show up for each other in different ways. We all love each other. Sometimes it might be sexual, sometimes not. Right. But there's this like commitment to I'm in your life.
I'm in your life.
And we're doing this together and whatever is best for all of our highest timelines, and we all protect each other's hearts. And like that's the most important thing. Not like, can I get off right now? Right. Am I gonna orgasm or am I gonna get some ego validation?
It feels good, but it's really terrible, and it feels terrible afterwards. We've all gone through those stages where perhaps you're making the mistake of using sex and using sexual expression to get over things or to make yourself feel better, instant gratification or, you know, some kind of indignation. But it always turns out terribly harmful for the people around you that you actually care about.
So painful. I'd never had it happen to me until this last year, where I was just like, wow, it felt like just my whole life exploded from an emotional perspective. And I don't want anyone to ever experience that. I didn't know someone that claimed they loved you could hurt you so badly.
Well, it's the people that are closest to us that can hurt us the most. This is unequivocally true. You know, and I guess it's about.
Well, my friend told me, Brittnee, it's really easy to fall in love. It's more hard to choose the right person to fall in love with. And I was like, that's so true, because I'm such a lover girl. Like,
I'm a sucker for romance.
Yeah, I can see the best in everyone, and like especially if they're sexy and we're vibing. It's like, but then is this someone I actually want to share my life with? Like, do we have the same values? Like, do they actually care about me as a human and like really want to show up for me? Right. These are deeper questions that we all must ponder.
Very good questions. Very, very, very good questions. You know, along those questions, I got to a point where I was asking myself, you know, is my absence appreciated as much as my presence?
You know? Yeah, wow, that's really a big one.
You know, how am I appreciated in my absence? And I remember there being a time with one of my exes, where I was with her family, and her grandfather had passed away, and I remember I was very close. I was massaging his old feet. Rest in peace, Leo. And when he passed, her family was just so ready to, you know, pack his stuff up and, you know, move on, and it was so disappointing. I remember telling myself I would never want to, you know, share my life with these people. certainly not die among them, you know?
So they just you basically say like they didn't really care about him, and they were just like, let's get rid of his stuff and move on.
And then it was just
That's what I'm saying. Like sometimes, or for, at least for me in my life, chosen family has been way more real, because I feel like from a spiritual perspective, like a lot of us chose to be born into these families to understand what we need to learn, what we need to grow, or even just to, like, at least in my case, to have a soul who chose to, you know, make herself sovereign and like become free from the bondage of whatever I was born into, whatever.
Wow.
But then like,
Totally.
so on a spiritual level, like our tribe, our family is spread across the world. And then that's the adventure, is to go find them or have them find you. And then to like recognize each other and then to choose each other. Like I've had moments where I literally said to someone like, will you be my chosen family?
Wow.
Like, and they're like, actually, yeah,
Wow.
I'd love that.
That's such an intimate question. I have a chosen family, but I've never sat in front of one and asked them.
It's so beautiful, babe. It creates this bond.
Wow.
It's like this, like someone was talking to me this morning at the cafe about sovereign union. They're, you know, I think it's our generation's version of like marriage, or like going into this bond with someone, but you can also have this with your chosen family.
Yeah.
Like basically we're just committing to showing up for each other and being in each other's lives and loving each other.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it so much.
Wow. Wow, that's incredible. It's such a relieving, it's such a light feeling, actually. It may sound like it's a heavy feeling, like it's a lot of pressure or responsibility, which it is, because good things, you know, take responsibility, take great responsibility.
I think that's also something that's wrong with our generation, is like everyone's so trying to be individualistic that they're running away from the thing that actually makes life worth living, which is to care about each other, to commit to each other, to show up for each other. And then you're like, oh, things matter, you know? Yeah. And that's why I'm over here like, hello, caring about each other is really important. And with that comes responsibility. And with that responsibility comes what makes life the most beautiful life ever, you know?
Yeah. Somehow in the acceleration of it all, some of the new generations and even some of the old, you know, fell between those cracks, lost their way and kind of missed the mark on that. And, you know, you get a lot of detachment, you get a lot of, you know, desensitized perspectives. And
for sure. That's one thing I wanted to ask you about, was like, I've noticed the pattern of men that I'm attracting in is like men that are very in their masculine energy and like very successful in the 3D world. Like I just connected with a guy last week. Okay. I call him my matrix man. Like he just left the island, but he's, you know, very successful in the 3D. He lives in Abu Dhabi or Dubai, somewhere over there. Right. And but like from an emotional perspective, like it's kind of like this thing that your partner was saying, like, I didn't even know if he liked me for a while, because he was not pursuing me. He wasn't like, there was certain things where I'm like, and I realized later it was, and he shared this with me, that it was needing to feel safe emotionally and
for himself.
Yeah. And not necessarily having these tools to express how he was really feeling on the inside.
Wow.
And then I also attracted like the man that was in my bed last night, who's like 28 years old, and just this younger generation
Good
of
age,
like,
by the way.
Yeah, it's great age. Who is just like so emotionally communicative, you know, but like still figuring out their life, still figuring out what their mission is, and still finding their ground in the world, in the 3D world. Right. But from a spiritual and emotional perspective, more like switched on. Okay. And I choose to have both. Right. Like someone who is spiritually, emotionally available. Like they don't need to be as developed as I am, because I know that as women, we are usually have more
much
opportunities.
More advanced.
Yeah. But are very successful in the 3D, at least just have their life settled and accomplished, and then we can just vibe.
Right.
You know? Right. Because I noticed with this matrix man, this man I was connecting with, I still am connecting with him. I still have to listen to a voice message he just sent me this morning.
Sweet.
He's amazing. But I felt that there was this loneliness that I felt sometimes when we were hanging out, where I just really wanted to connect deeply on an emotional level, like how we're talking right now, and just kind of unfold into it. Right. And I also felt that he wanted that, but he didn't know how to do it. Right. And he'd done therapy, so he was just opening up, you know.
I wonder if his therapy was with a female therapist.
Oh, this is a good question.
Because for me, to get through those mental, let's say, borders, masculine borders, it took a close friend of mine, Yvette, actually.
So it's a woman.
Yeah, and she's not a psychologist, you know. She's studying English and German art history.
I love it. Maybe she missed her calling.
Perhaps. Shout out to Yvette. Yeah, I personally believe it takes a patient woman who has chosen to be this for this man. In a professional context, I'm sure that there are female professionals that can provide that growth for men that require that. But I do think that women have to be the ones to lead, to open that world up. So for me, it was like Yvette and I matched on Tinder, and we tried going out on dates. We're very attracted to each other. I mean, we at least, visually, because, we matched based on our pictures. I love her tattoos. I love her hair.
So this is the woman that helped you.
Who helped me with this,
Yeah.
this emotional communication, or rather, at least being open to. Well, I'll get into it. Because what I think it is with guys is that in this case with your Matrix man, you mentioned he's very successful in the 3D world, in the cyber world, I guess. Is what you meant by that?
He makes weapons, babe.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Christ.
And he doesn't actually want to do it anymore.
Right, I see what you're saying.
Like, he actually is kind of an alien child like us.
Yeah.
And he's
So
super into, he's into actually like space.
So he's trying to plug out of the Matrix, let's
technology, or switch to something that I think is, that's what I said to him. I was like, use your energy to make the world a better place. And he's like, well, I'm protecting people. I'm like, do not bypass me. Like, we had some really straight up conversations, and I loved it because he was open to it. And I was like, that like you're what you're creating, you're working for these huge governments, these private contracts, like they are killing people, and it's like, you have such an amazing brain, and like I can tell he's very switched on, like energetically, psychically. And like he told me, like, he's like had many like alien contacts, like we had, and I had
extraterrestrial.
Yeah, so like him and I are both super into this.
Oh my God.
But it's like
we have another chapter to go.
So like we both have always just kind of felt like these hybrids. But his way of feeling very alone in the world was just to go off and get very accomplished, and it just kind of, his life trajectory just took him to this. He's also raised by his grandfather, who was actually straight up in the KGB.
Wow.
So it's like a whole other thing.
What a character.
But I don't know. I got off track. But like, so yes, he's very successful in the 3D. And then you were going to say something else.
Right. And so I feel that, so guys that, let's say, are living in such a way, maybe it's similar to someone who's working in IT, for example, or someone who's working in a lab, like a doctor or a medical researcher. Because of the extreme level of isolation, let's say, one becomes estranged from social cues and like communicative skills. Your riz disappears. You lose your swagger, kind of like that. And this kind of attacks the ego of the man. And so then they feel very insecure when it comes to saying the right things, or saying them at the right time, sounding good saying it, or, just saying the right things to the person that's in front of you. This tends to have guys shut. So for me personally, I can speak well. I grew up in Boston and, in the hood. So, the culture's dope. We know how to sound cool. But I actually was very private. I had a very hard time being vulnerable with my emotions, with what makes me sad, with what actually makes me jealous. So, which is, for instance, in a relationship or an open relationship, really important to share.
Oh my God, so important.
Because when your partner doesn't know that what they're doing is hurting, sort to say, they're gonna keep doing it, and it's like, they don't want to hurt you. Your partner, you're in love with your partner. They're really not there to hurt you. They're there to to enjoy life with you, and sometimes they make some mistakes along the way. So I had to learn that sharing and being vulnerable, even though I don't like to do that, I feel like guys have developed this mechanism where not sharing their emotions, like you said, protects themselves, right?
Or just feels too vulnerable. It's like opening themselves up to being like I just imagine like someone being like, I'm opening myself up to possibly be stabbed. You know, it's that same feeling of like exposed.
Yeah. And the funny thing is like the feeling is bigger than what it actually is, because when you look into, okay, what is being stabbed in this sense, what does that look like in real life? And it's like, okay, if I tell you I'm sad because this guy makes you laugh, or other people can make you laugh, right? Then I'm opening up to tell you that I feel like I'm a boring speaker or something, or a boring person. So my insecurity is kind of like lying in, in me feeling inadequately boring or something, or not interesting, right?
Yeah.
And so what does stabbing my back look like? You telling someone that, I'm not interesting, or you actually feeling like I'm not interesting to you, right? I guess that's the same as saying, the person, it just doesn't work out with you and this person, which is normal. You know what I mean? It's okay for someone to fall out of interest, or to love or not love. You know what I mean? Like it's
so
totally
it's like
fair.
They're worried if they expose their insecurities, then you'll leave or you'll hurt them. But it's like actually exposing them are the things that make it so you can either heal it or figure out if you're aligned.
Exactly. So I think it's like a smoke screen almost, that we're falling into. The feeling of that fear is almost it's fear of fear itself, right? We all know that it's a fear of fear itself. That's really what it is. The actual thing isn't so bad, right? It's not like the end of the world. It's like, yes, it's the end of perhaps this relationship, or how the relationship is, right? It's going to transform now into something else, but we're still going to keep going, right? The show still goes on.
And how did this girl help you with that?
Well, we were, to be explicit, we were partying for like 2 days, and ended up in her place, and we were together for about 10 hours. And so this is a platonic relationship. We'd never had sexual intercourse. We tried sleeping together in bed. I remember I placed my arm on her hip while I was spooning her, and she very softly and subtly grabbed my hand and placed it off of her hip, and then we fell asleep together, and I never tried that ever again. But we love spending time together. We spend hours and hours and partied and, everything. And after this 2 days, but there was still this sexual tension between us, right? And it was more so from my side, whereas in my head I'm thinking, this beautiful girl that I really, really, really like, and all these other guys really, really like too, that I'm always hanging out with. And then I guess there was this lingering thought of, if I'm ever going to hook up with her, or, trying to define the relationship, which was silly, because actually I loved her for who she was. I loved her mind, the way that we communicated with each other. And this was the reality as well. So these two things were ambiguously going on at the same time, that I felt one way and I also felt another way. And then during this 10-hour kind of session, we were alone together. It ended with me like on my knees in front of her, crying my eyes out, her holding me. And then that feeling completely being dissolved. And then me now being able to have conversations, not just with her, but with any woman that I've ever had, as appropriately as a human being, and not as a man or a woman, but rather as two spirits connecting and exchanging knowledge, exchanging love, exchanging emotions,
So was it that you were attracted to her romantically, and in your brain, this is like what defines the connection, and then she just showed up as this like high priestess, like I love you for who you are as a soul, and this unconditional love, and then that's like what you actually wanted.
It was
like what was it that like brought you to your knees?
It was excuse me. Yeah, it was a mixture of both. It was certainly a mixture of both, because we both had we were both attracted to each other.
Yeah,
and we also knew that other people were attracted to seeing us together. We were like an aphrodisiac pair, right? We would go into a party together, everyone would get turned on, and then they would start mingling with us or something. So we both really enjoyed that about each other too. So there was this attraction.
I have that with my friend Sasha.
Yeah,
Shout
okay,
out
cool.
to Sasha.
You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's super hot. It's super fun. We have a great time. And we facilitate each other, which is super cool. We can be ourselves around each other. So this attraction was naturally there, but for some reason, we just we didn't have the sexual drive, and this just happens. I think she's super hot. She's so sexy. She's extremely intelligent. She's extremely attractive. I would spend, countless hours with her. And I would do it in a heartbeat, anytime, every lifetime. But sexually, we just didn't have that drive. And unfortunately, the masculine part of my mind was holding on to this. Oh, sorry, was holding on to the masculine side of my mind was holding on to this thought of sexual connection with her. And I needed her, actually. She really got me through it. And it was funny. It wasn't like I was sitting there and like, I want to have sex with you, but I can't. And it wasn't like this. It was more about us acknowledging that there was this tension between us.
To like openly communicating
to
about
openly communicate about it, right? It wasn't so much
sexy when someone's like that, like just like speaking what is alive.
Yeah, it was really sexy too, but we weren't turned on by it.
Yeah, no, I just meant like just in general as like such a cool. I meant sexy and like this is so cool when someone is just like able to speak like this is how I feel, this is what I'm sensing. Is it true? Can we talk about it together as a team?
Yeah, and we did it. We talked about it as a team, and man, I'm getting goosebumps right now as I think about it. It really, again, I grew up with my mother, and I've always been. Most of my friends have always been women, from elementary school to now. But from that point on, that little fragment of that was removed, or better yet, it wasn't removed.
What was removed? The shield that you had put up? Or the wall or the smoke screen or whatever?
What was removed was, what is it actually? Because when I'm trying to put it into words, it was having to accept, not even having to accept, it was just, we look at each other as different, as men and women. We have terms for this, right? It's genderism, it's, it's identity, it's pronouns, for example, right? And we go through this series, at least the way I see it is that we go through a series of different checks, like a checklist, before we are looking at the person in front of us as exactly the same as us. There's like, oh, what's your name? And, oh, I know this name, or I understand this, or where you're from. Oh, wow. And it's like these series of checks, and then you relate to the person more. And then after 5 minutes or an hour, like, oh, this person is a human being that I can respect, right? It shouldn't be that way. And when it comes to the male-female dynamic, men are kind of raised in an environment where they are looking at themselves differently. Like there's a hierarchy, we're raised within a hierarchy. And this kind of tasks us to, be polite and be politically correct, when instead these things should be a given part of our nature. You know what I mean? And this is what it removed for me. It removed this thought process where I had to go through like, okay, this is a woman and this is how I value her. This is what she's providing, blah, blah, blah.
You stepped into your embodiment. That's what happened.
I stepped into my embodiment. I could have only done that with her.
That's so beautiful. Oh, I love this so much. And I think my podcast equipment's about to die and I'm hungry. So I'm going to wrap it up here and say this was a lovely podcast and meeting you today, and the vibe's only going to continue.
Vibes continue.
Is there any last words you have for the beautiful souls who are watching and listening to this?
Beautiful souls, stay positive. Hard things don't last forever. Keep on swinging. It gets better. It always gets better.
So it was nice to meet you.
It was
Joelle.
Very, very nice to meet you, Brittnee.
And so this is Brittnee Bond signing off. We will see you in the next podcast. Bye. Okay, so I'm going to do an intro. We'll just keep it going.
Yeah.
We'll just clap. I'm going to do a better intro.
Okay.
So the voice of Germany, yeah?
Yes, the voice of Germany.
Okay.
Yeah.